some news broke this morning that was a little odd, a little peculiar. I thought it was fake, and then I saw the story sort of corroborated by some other sources. Rumor has it that a Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 remaster / remake is in the works, alongside a multiplayer game, an unannounced multiplayer game in the Horizon series. It's not totally clear if this would be a remaster, so just maybe a visual upgrade, and brought to the PS5. So I imagine either 60 frames per second or 120 or something like that. Because I think the original already runs at 60, if I'm not mistaken, on PS5. But it's not super clear like what the nature of this product is. But it's either going to be, as it's rumored, a remaster or like a full-blown remake in the style of something like Last of Us Part 1. At least that's what the Horizon Zero Dawn section of this. The other half is just a unannounced, an unannounced multiplayer version of this game. We know that Sony has some multiplayer games in the works that aren't announced. It seems like this might be one of them. Justin, what do you think about both of these things?
I'll start with the positive first. I think the multiplayer idea could be really fun. Like a Monster Hunter world, kind of going out with your friends or alone fighting big monsters. Thinking about loadouts very much more specifically than I think I ever did when I played the Forbidden West. I think that is a cool idea, and you could there's just a lot you can do with that in a cool way. And I think having multiple people do set up traps and tripwires and stuff like that while another one's distracting it, aiming for different parts. And I think they could have really like massive monsters that you attack. I think that could be cool. If it's going to be a standalone thing, I hope it'd be like substantial and not just like a little like thing that you have to pay for. If it's like a full game, I'd probably be really interested. If it's just like, here's some DLC, I don't know if I'd do that personally. But I think that's cool that they're doing that. I like it. Yeah. Good for that. The other thing
it reminds me a little bit of like if it's just like a side thing or like here's some DLC that your friends can jump into. Reminds me a little bit of the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer.
Yeah.
Did you ever play that? Or like it's fun.
I didn't play it, but like that's like a full experience.
Ish.
Full-ish experience.
It's fun.
It's an experience.
But then you're kind of done with it. It's like pretty shallow. Not shallow.
Okay.
It's just like there's not much to it. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's just like some combat arenas, the Ghost of Tsushima weapons and whatever. Like that's fun.
And I think too with that, I wouldn't even have expected Ghost of Tsushima to have like multiplayer in it. Like when I was playing that game, I wasn't like thinking like, man, if I had 3 other samurai here like fighting with me, pretending to be stealth people, that'd be really fun. But like this one, I could see it, and I think if they could do well with Ghost of Tsushima, I'm assuming they can do well with this. Not the same company, obviously, but
following the lead. Yeah. So second half of it, the remaster remake. What do you think?
Why?
Why?
I mean, people are complaining. People are like, I don't know. I mean, I would love to see what the Last of Us sales were. I don't know if that's released anywhere. I don't think we have our charts yet for the month like last month. I bet even that it came out so late. I just don't know like who would want this, why we need it. And even more so than with The Last of Us, because The Last of Us at a certain point, that was a PS3 game. They had some remasters of it, but like I guess I could make the argument that they wanted it to live up to the other one so it's seamless with it. But I didn't think that Horizon Forbidden West was like drastically different in terms of its gameplay than Horizon Zero Dawn. Like I don't like. Is it
played them back to back?
Up?
I played them back to back.
And
same fucking game.
Yeah, so like I don't think like what they did with like the dismemberment of the robots is warranted to carry over or whatever from game to game. It like feels like it's the same game with like a nicer coat of paint on it.
I played this in January and February. Horizon Zero Dawn. And like I think it runs at 60 frames per second. It looks gorgeous. There's a PS5 update for it. So like when you play it, it is as solid as it can be. Yeah, it looks a little stiff in its cutscenes because they're in-engine sort of like running, and they're it's a game from 2017. Like, what do you want? It's a little stiff, sure, but like it's not like drastically that different, especially in like the visual department and like the mechanical department from Horizon Forbidden West. I think the only thing you could really update is the character models and the animations. But even then, like, it's just clear that this is an older game, I don't know. Yeah, go on.
I'm scrolling through. They have like some like side by sides of like different parts of Aloy and different like facial things from the two games. I mean, there's more detail, but it's not like to a level of like I'm like this is ugly versus this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm on the mpfirst.com website looking at it, and like again, it's not like this huge leap between like these two games, and like I don't know, and it's cool, guys.
It's just it's tough to know what to say about this because it's just like what do you want from this? Like we talked about Last of Us Remake, right? Remake Part 1, and that was one of those things that a lot of people were like, what is this for, right? Why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, you play those two games and you go, wow, that is different. There is some major changes going on here. But if you were to do that same thing for a game that's 6 years older than it, no, 5 years older than it. I'm bad at math. What I'm trying to say is Horizon Zero Dawn is just not that old. It just seems like resources would be better spent elsewhere. And I think that if this is true, if all this is true, and they are doing a remake, remaster, however you want to call it, of this game, it will be the sort of thing that is starting to set a bad precedent, in my opinion, for Sony and for PlayStation, where it's just like they've had success with these IPs. They're very popular, but they're just wallowing in them, and they're not moving them forward. Yeah, go on. And
it's like they still have backwards compatibility on this stuff too. Like you can still play the PS4. It's not like this is even grosser. But if we didn't have backwards compatibility, maybe it's like, well, this is the only way I can play it on the PS5, maybe. But there's literally an upgrade for the PS5 for it.
Yeah,
like
no, 100%. Like I said, I played this earlier this year, and I think that it is exactly how that game should be played. Like it's perfectly fine. It's not an issue. It's not a problem in my opinion, but what can you do?
I feel there's also something different about playing Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 back to back versus playing Horizon 1 and Horizon 2 back to back.
Last of Us 1 and 2 back to back, it is a beautiful, seamless transition. And I think especially so because those two games are clearly made. Like the first one is so essential to the story of the second one that like you should play the first game before you play the second one. With Horizon Forbidden West, I was talking to my roommate. He was like, I thought about playing them, but like having to play two open world games back to back just sounds like a lot. And I was like, literally, if you want to play these, start with the second one because the first one does not matter at all. There is, I guess, the revelations in the story about her being a clone. Spoilers for a game that's so old that they're remaking. But like that comes across perfectly fine in the second game. And also, it's one of those plots where everything is completely undone at the very end because they just want to keep it going.